In this masterclass, we look at everything you should know before you start playing the guitar, and you'll know what to expect once you start learning. So let's get right into it. So the classification of the guitar comes under string instrument, as the guitar makes sound by playing strings. So we can further categorize the guitar into two main types: acoustic guitar and electric guitar. The acoustic and the electric guitar is basically the same guitar, but there are more intricate details to each guitar which differentiates them. So as the name suggests, acoustic guitars create sound acoustically, meaning that they can create sound in and of itself, while the electric guitar has to be hooked up to an amplifier and to a speaker to be heard. So we can get very technical with the types of guitars, but let's look at what's most ideal for a beginner. So for a beginner, an acoustic tends to be the more ideal choice. Reason being, it can create sound without the need of a cable or an amplifier, or turning knobs on the guitar, or turning knobs on the amplifier, which can get a bit technical. So a beginner should be thinking about just coming to play the instrument without thinking about the technicalities of the instrument. So an acoustic would be the preferred choice to start out on. There are different types of acoustic guitars. The main two types being steel stringed and nylon string. Nylon string tends to be a bit softer to play, a bit softer on the hands. So for beginners, I would suggest starting on a nylon string guitar. So give the finger some time to get used to pressing, because in playing the guitar we'll have to press down on the strings. So if the strings are softer, it makes it easier. And if the strings are a bit harder, it's a bit harder on the fingertips. And we have more severe calluses on the fingertips. And just to note, a beginner can learn on any guitar. So if there is already a guitar at your disposal, you can start learning on that one. The main parts of a guitar is the head, the neck, and the body. Alright, on the head we'll have tuners or tuning pegs to tune, to change the pitch. To go higher or low. And that's what we use to tune the instrument. We have the nut here, which the strings go across and it keeps the strings steady in place. And we call this side of the neck the fingerboard or the fretboard, right? So we see separations here, partitions going up, and we count the frets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we get higher in pitch as we go up the neck. And on the acoustic here we have the body. On the body of the acoustic there's a sound hole, which when the strings are plucked, the sound reverberates in this sound hole here and thus projects, being audible acoustically without amplification. But on this particular acoustic guitar, it has electronics there where we can use that cable here to plug that in for further amplification. And on the electric guitar here, as you can see more electronics into play. We have pickups here, which they pick up the vibration of the sound of the strings magnetically, and we use a cable here to further attach to the instrument for amplification. So for the electric guitar, it's not very loud acoustically, meaning it's not very loud without plugging it into an amplifier or a speaker. So on its own, it's not very loud. Here is a diagram which further breaks down the parts of the guitar. So there are many variations of guitars, and there are acoustic guitars which can be plugged up to an amplification system. So it can be heard louder than just the natural acoustics. And there are electric guitars which have some bit of acoustic element to it. Especially in the acoustic guitars, there are various sizes. You have sizes for smaller persons, for bigger persons, for children. So if you're typical adult, you'll want to go for a full-size acoustic. The bigger the instrument also, the more sound we'll get, the louder it projects. The smaller the sound. And if you're a smaller adult, you may go for a 3/4 size, or for a child it may be half size or quarter the size of a guitar, of a full size. And there are also the various price range from which one can select a guitar. The price range usually determines the quality of the instrument you're getting. And the quality may be the type of wood the instrument is made from. Some wood projects the sound louder than some, and some wood gives the guitar a different tone. So it's all about the type of material and the way the guitar is built that affects the price range. But for a beginner, I doubt $100 guitar versus $1,000 guitar would make that much of a difference. However, feel free to do further research and go with what's best for your budget. In being serious about learning the guitar, it's a very good idea to start listening to music where the guitar is very dominant, it's a guitar-driven music, so that we can start to hear the different elements and approach of other guitarists, and that will definitely influence our playing. So even in songs that we may have already been familiar, a lot of these songs, they do have the guitar in it, and we should be able to distinguish by listening the type of guitar and what the guitar is doing in terms of role. Active listening is very important to being a better guitarist and all-around musician. And just like anything else, to get the best results, we'll have to be consistent in practice. So practicing as much as we can. So for example, practicing 20 minutes per day is better than practicing 3 hours once a week, right? So the consistency is better than bulk practice, because I know a lot of persons who are learning the guitar may have jobs and other obligations in their lives. So the most important thing is to be consistent whilst you're putting in those practice sessions. After about a year of consistency, you would be moving now into intermediate level. Approximately 90% of students quit within the first year. And some of the reasons why they quit, the difficulty in learning the instrument. The guitar is an instrument which has some challenges, but it's generally worth it. The lack of that immediate gratification is also a deterrent for some. Some persons also underestimate the time and dedication it takes, and some persons have unrealistic expectations. Some persons get bored throughout the process. Some persons are using instruments which they are not properly set up, and just the lack of guidance is why a lot of students quit. Having a good teacher is very important in progressing on the instrument, because there are certain things that is very difficult to figure out and correct on your own. So having a teacher, whether online or in person, helps that progress. You will see better results that way. So a good teacher for you would be dependent on the style of music that you're interested in. Find a teacher that's good at playing that style, and someone that can also teach. And this can be based on recommendations such as online reviews, you seeing that teacher actually teaching. So if you're serious about learning the guitar and you think that you'd be able to dedicate a year of consistent practicing and determination, I would say go for it. I hope this masterclass was very helpful and gave you a better idea of what to expect in your quest in becoming a guitarist, and just to give you a better understanding of the instrument itself and to shed a bit of light on what it takes to actually be successful in this guitar journey. If this was helpful, please leave a comment and let me know. And if you have further questions, please also leave that in the comments. Alright, thank you for sticking around. We'll see you again soon.